Miko would get them to believe that they were becoming partners in this new and exciting world, and they were contributing to the advancement of the country, which all was true. And then, just when it came time where there was no more food to eat, and no more white or red wine and champagne to be drunk, and it was time to make the deal and get down to the dollars and cents, everybody's best friends, he would say the exact same 6 words. He would say over and over, time after time, "Have you met my partner, Joe?" He and I weren't just good cop and bad cop. As far as the people we were making deals with were concerned, we were good cop and bad guy, period. But by setting up a first-class technical operation, Miko had assured that we would flourish and succeed. Which proved us also at times life does come full circle. You see, long after I left the airlines, it turned out that we needed to have our own airplanes. So we finally found a useful role for me. I doubled as a pilot. And we recruited his brother as a pilot also. At times I was flying back and forth across the country for days at a time, delivering parts, meeting with people, picking up money. It sure made our travel different and more productive. Once we demonstrated that we could make this complex business happen in Zaire, starting from less than scratch, something else happened. It turned out one of Miko's dreams was to give the people of Zaire the economic ammunition in telecommunications needed to advance in the global economy. We were able to expand operations, which called Telecel to 12 more countries in the very continent. But we learned quickly, and maybe we should have left well alone and just stuck to our business and good friendships in Zaire. More than once, competitors decided on a different kind of competitive strategies. Not to beat us in pricing, or in our service, or outspend us in advertising, nothing quite as routine as that. Nor did they want to merge and combine with us. The saying, if you can beat them, join them, didn't apply to our competitors. They actually put a little twist in the saying and decided to use the strategy, if you can beat them, jail them. Here's one incident that will give you an idea of how unwelcome we were by the existing old guard of telephone companies. Thank you very much. We had given a partner in Zimbabwe some old equipment that we expected to use later, only after we got the necessary approval. We told him under no circumstances are you to operate and until we get the approvals in place. You can imagine Miko's and my blood pressure when our good friend and later partner, James Makamba, I thought he was going to be here today, but obviously he's not, told us that in fact our partner was operating the equipment illegally. As fast as we could finish the drinks, we got on our plane and went and arrived in Harare. The minister told us a law was being put in place by 10 a.m. the next day. I'd be in jail and the country $200,000 richer, thanks to the heavy fines that we were going to receive. That necessitated our New York and Washington lawyers pulling every string they could do to avoid me going to jail and the fine, and probably prohibition from operating there ever again. James always reminded me how he kept us out of jail, between saying, and often I think he wished he hadn't. In Madagascar, the enemy, a large European carrier, my lawyers have told me not to mention the name, decided on a simpler approach. We were working with the lawmakers to draft a new law so that the people could sell cell phones, and the necessary license would be made available to operators like us. Literally, the day before the law was to be voted on. That carrier got the writing slightly changed. Sure, they would be allowing to sell operational licenses, except the way they wrote it, they would have a monopoly for 7 years. What saved us from being presented and passed that next day, friendships that Miko had built. People on the inside alerted us to what was going on, and with our friendships, it was changed back so we and others, if they wanted, could openly compete. There are, of course, stories for each of the obtained licenses. Also for those we did not succeed, such as Nigeria or Rwanda. Then the one we acquired but we did not operate, Ukraine. I remember having drinks with Miko in his home maybe 10 years after that, with our friends Johnny and Williams, Johnny Walker and Paul Williams. And Miko pondering aloud about the early days. Joe, you know why we succeeded? I was expecting to hear from him due to our foresight, negotiating skills, perseverance, professional track record. Instead he said, because a few times I saw you mad, and sure as hell I didn't want to see you, what you would be like if we failed. What he should have said, because I was not going to rest until we succeed, and he did not rest until we did succeed. As the operation matured, we began to turn it over to new players, sending pieces that made sense, and ultimately decided to just end our partnership. The partnership was really nothing more than a vehicle through which to exercise the friendship that was the foundation of all that was accomplished. It was just 3 days before his passing that I happened to be visiting with Miko and 2 of his daughters in Maryland, reminiscing, and nothing had changed. Little did I realize how much that would mean to me now. Right now, somewhere, Miko is probably reading another article about something new and exciting, thinking, how can I get in on this? How will this help society? I want in. I guess he lost my phone number. I cannot think of a more deserving person to honor here today. Not because of Miko's accomplishments, they were inexorable, because of all the unwavering values he had, and which no doubt you students for whom we are here today already show values that I believe my story demonstrates were just not helped by Miko, but exuded by him in torrential buckets. Boundless vision and refusal to allow to be constrained and narrowed by normal rules. Equally boundless enthusiasm and spirit of adventure. Never seeing a problem, just a challenge, and enjoying every minute of it. Friendship combined with friendship and more friendship. An honorability, dignity, and trustworthiness that he knew was always coming back to lend a helping hand when you needed the most. Plain old dogged resiliency and perseverance. These are the values for which Miko stood and which pervaded his relationship. It takes, in this case, 2 to tango, and I'm ever so grateful that he chose me to fulfill his dream and accomplish his goals. I wish to add a word of advice to the students here today. Do not give up. Follow that dream, that instinct, that fire within you, and you will ultimately succeed. And oh yes, sorry, don't forget those 3 values. 2 Bordeaux, 1 Champagne.